At the Uganda Media Center, Oxfam in Uganda, the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, UN Women and civil society partners mark 25 years of UN Resolution 1325 on women, peace and security. The event highlighted Uganda's progress in promoting women's participation in peace building, while Oxfam urged government and partners to tackle cultural and religious barriers that still hinder women's full involvement.
Oxfam in Uganda, in partnership with the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, UN Women and a broad coalition of civil societies organizations, proudly joins the global community in commemorating the 25th anniversary of the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325 on women, peace and security.
Oxfam urged government to strengthen its response to gender-based violence, expand GBV shelters and ensure comprehensive support for survivors. It also called for strengthening partnerships, increased investments in research on women's roles in peace and leadership, and greater promotion of women's participation at all levels to fully realize the goals of the UN Resolution 1325.
We really call upon all the actors to address the entrenched cultural and religious norms that perpetuate unequal power dynamics and limit women's participation in peace building, and other that women bear disproportionately the brand of conflict. We call upon actors, especially the government, to strengthen the prevention and response to gender-based violence.
The resolution underscores that the women participation is essential in preventing conflicts, promoting peace, and rebuilding war-torn societies. It recognizes women and girls not just as victims, but as powerful agents of peace and transformation. It also commits preventing gender-based violence, resulting in progress such as increasing female representation in security, justice and political sectors. Civil society organizations have played a key role in localizing Uganda's National Action Plan to advance their goals.
The United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325, under the theme, when women lead, peace follows. Ladies and gentlemen, today is a milestone for us in Uganda as we enjoy relative peace and stability for development. We are reminded that we need to sustain peace and security in Uganda, particularly so in terms of ensuring that women participate effectively. We prevent all forms of sexual and gender-based violence as a weapon of war. We ensure that women's rights are protected. We ensure that women refugees are well catered for when it comes to relief and humanitarian assistance.
In partnership with the government of Uganda, women's rights organizations have helped develop and localize national action plans, turning the UN Security Council Resolution 1325 commitments in the practical strategies that strengthen women's security, leadership and participation in peace building. In partnership with the government of Uganda, women's rights organizations have helped develop and localize national action plans, turning the UN Security Council Resolution 1325 commitments into a practical strategies that strengthen women's security, leadership and participation in peace building.
In partnership with the government of Uganda, we, as the women's rights organizations, have contributed to the development of the implementation of the National Action Plan, right from the first one to the current one, as well as localizing across the districts, translating the National Action Plans, mobilizing communities, and ensuring that the local strategies that enhance women's peace and security agenda, leadership and peace building are sustained. As mentioned by the UN country representative, Uganda has made a number of strides, and we must be proud of that, albeit the challenges. We have the legal and policy framework that Uganda has established, especially that protect women and girls, some of which include the Domestic Violence Act of 2010, the Female Genital Mutilation of 2010, the National Action Plan, the Gender Policy of 2007, the Trafficking in Persons Act of 2009, and of course the National Action Plan 3 that we have, and all the other previous of 2021 to 2025.
Uganda has made notable progress in implementing UNSR 1325 through joint efforts by government, civil society, and communities, strengthening legal frameworks, enhancing women representation, and localizing peace initiatives. However, women remain underrepresented in formal peace and decision-making processes, with gender-based violence, limited funding, and cultural barriers continuing to hinder the full participation.
Among some of these challenges that we continue to face is that women continue to be significantly underrepresented in formal peace regulation and decision-making spaces. A national review of the UN Women further highlights that despite Uganda's People Defense Forces Army maintaining a Directorate of Women Affairs and ongoing recruitments, efforts overall representation in the army forces still remain very low. Gender-based violence remains passive challenge in Uganda. Local women's organizations working on the front line for peace face defunding and dwindling funding, with only 0.3% of official development assistance.
As Uganda joins the global community in marking 25 years of Resolution 1325, stakeholders emphasize that ensuring women's voices are heard in peace and security progresses remains a collective responsibility.